This is a Meike 35mm f0.95 lens, a fully manual lens designed for a variety of camera mounts, including Fujifilm. Now, it offers one of the fastest maximum apertures available at f0.95, but no autofocus, no auto exposure options, and a user experience that really is as unique as the lens itself. And in today's video, we're going to talk all about it. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's video. Now make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and comment "Pick me Pete" with a camera emoji on any of my videos for a chance to win a Viltrox 13mm f1.4 lens for Fujifilm. Download my free PDF for some portrait tips and check out my sponsors in the description below. Special thanks to Meike for sending me this lens for review, but as always, they had no input on this video or my honest thoughts about this lens. Now, the first thing you'll notice about the Meike 35mm is how compact it is for a lens with such a wide aperture. It's no wider than a Fujifilm 35mm lens, but about an inch longer. The lens is made of metal with a metal mount and barrel, and it has a heft to it that makes it feel very solid. The aperture ring does not have any clicks and instead has a smooth rotation from open to close. The focusing ring is large and smooth to rotate as well. Now, using this lens immediately reminded me of my experience as a young man shooting with old screw mount lenses on cameras like the Pentax Spotmatic. If you're a sucker for a retro feel and experience, you will definitely appreciate the completely old school nature of this 35mm lens. I found the overall user experience to be positive with a few caveats. If you follow my channel, you probably know by now that I love to shoot portraits wide open, and that's exactly what I did with this lens for much of my time testing it. Shooting at f0.95 and nailing the focus, however, even with manual focus aids enabled on my camera, was a lot more challenging than I had initially thought it would be. So I did wind up with a large amount of soft images. And I had this experience shooting both outdoors on a bright day as well as in my studio under continuous lights. When I did nail the focus, however, the images are quite sharp, but more on the quality a bit later. Now, stop down, the lens was a lot easier to focus, so of course keep that in mind. If you've never used a manual focus lens on your camera before, another thing to keep in mind is that the camera will not register any of the lens settings. So the aperture will always read as f1 in your metadata. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that my reviews are not overly scientific, and I usually prefer to use real-world results over lens charts. But in an effort to grow and become even better at what I do, I did shoot a lens quality chart for this review. I made two images with it, one wide open and one at f8. Wide open, the 35mm is not terribly sharp either in the center or at the corners, and there is quite a lot of fringing. At f8, sharpness is vastly improved in both the center and at the corners, and most of the fringing is gone. Now, as I already mentioned, it was a challenge to achieve critical focus when wide open, but when I did, the images I created have great sharpness with results that are much better than you might expect based on my lens chart photos, so take that test with a grain of salt. I created really nice results in my studio as well as at the park and at the boardwalk with my family. One thing I did notice is that the lens is not terribly contrasty, and so the images seem to have a muted look to them regarding contrast and color. If you like this look in your images, you're going to appreciate the fact that they're not really punchy looking. I can see this working well with certain Fujifilm simulations, for example. But overall, I was very pleased with the images that the Meike 35 created, and I enjoyed using it on the X-T4 and the X-T5. Now, is the overall quality going to blow your mind? Well, no, but for what it is and for what it costs, the results were very pleasing. If you're like me and you want to shoot wide open basically most, if not all of the time, it might take a little bit of practice to get consistently sharp results. Based on my shooting style, that was really the greatest weakness of this particular lens. The Meike 35mm f0.95 lens retails for $259 US. For this relatively low price, you can have a lens that is incredibly fast, creates pleasing bokeh, and is a lot of fun to use. If you understand the limitations of a fully manual lens, and this lens in particular, and love not only classic aesthetics, but classic looking images, I have no doubt that you will be pleased with the Meike 35mm. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this quick review and you decide to pick up a Meike 35mm, I would greatly appreciate if you use one of my links in the description below, as this helps me to continue making more videos. Make sure you check out my Viltrox 13mm giveaway video linked below for all the details on how you can have a chance to win that lens. And here's wishing you all an amazing day. Go out and take some great photos, and I will see you in the next one, friends. Peace.